Hello ladies and gentlemen, Xentor here and welcome back to another YouTube video. Now today we're going to be comparing Boeing to Airbus in infinite flight, two of the aviation aircraft making giants. Now if you are new here, please make sure you like and subscribe and do please enjoy the video. And I'm just going to let you all know that if I haven't been replying to any of your comments like I usually would, it's because I've had to go away and I completely sort of forgot about it. So I've had to pre-record a few videos last minute and I haven't mentioned it. But I'll keep you all up to date on what I've done in the Discord server. So you can join that. There's a link in the description. And make sure also check out my Instagram and Twitter. There's also links to them in the description. Now, like I said, in this video we'll be comparing Airbus to Boeing. So I think one of the first comparisons we want to make is the amount of aircraft there. Now there are loads more Boeing aircraft than Boeing variants in infinite flight, because when we look at the Airbus variants, the only aircraft with a few variants is the A330, which we've got 3, but like we've got 3 of the 737 variants, we've got quite a few 747 variants. I mean, these two are sort of special ones. I don't know if I'd really count it, but we do got 3 of the 747 variants, sorry. The 777s as well, look, we got 4 of those variants and 3 787 variants. So when we think about in depth of the aircraft, there's definitely more depth in Boeing aircraft, even though I suppose Airbus do have more like actual aircraft. When you think about the A320 family, I suppose you could think of that as different variants because it is the A320 family. So I think something we see, if we just compare the newest of both aircraft, now the newest Boeing aircraft is either the 777 or the 757, which I can't remember, but we'll go with the 757 and we'll take out a livery which both of these aircraft have. So I'd imagine both have the infinite flight livery. Of course they don't have the infinite flight livery. Do you know what? I'll just pick the first livery there is that I can find, the Air Austral variant. So what we're going to be comparing here is just the detail of these aircraft. Now we do need to remember, like I said, I'm comparing the newest to both of the variants of the aircraft, and we're going to see which one has the better detail. Now I'm just going to have to adjust my settings, I think, as well. Note settings are okay. So the first thing we notice in here is the cockpit, obviously. So we got like little details like the phones and that in here, which are pretty cool, but that's not what we're interested in. We're interested in what moves. So like we know all of these move, the flaps move, of course. I don't even know what that thing is there. It never moves. Oh, it's the spoilers. Oh look, the spoiler thing moves. Okay, that's cool. It'd be cool if we could move it to a quarter, a half, 3/4 full, like it, like it says there. But that's alright. Obviously the rudder pedals move as well. So like everything in here moves. So while I quickly, start up the cockpit, but let's just have a look at the interior, because I know both of these aircraft have an interior which is comparable, and I think the A330, the A220 here has one of the best interiors in infinite flight. Now when we look at the 757, there are a few quirks in there which make it a very good interior, but I'm going to have to turn the aircraft audio down. There we go. All of these have screens. Now, not many aircraft have screens in infinite flight, and I have mentioned that in quite a few videos before, suggesting that, they need to add it in more aircraft. I mean, the screens aren't really screens, they're sort of just black blobs at the moment, but yeah. And there are not toilets. I thought that was a toilet. I can never find that that's definitely a toilet. But there is no toilet, of course, unfortunately. Now, the cockpit. Like I said, the screens, the detail of this cockpit is pretty good. I mean, the buttons are a little bit blurry, but that's all right. But even though the screens themselves here, like even the detail of like the display, look, we've got the temperature and everything. So if I change the temperature outside, do we think that's going to affect that? Let's make it 68 degrees. Oh, no, it's okay. That's evidently just the cabin temperature, obviously. But like I said, we got our trim. Was that going to tell us what our trim is? So, oh, look, there we go. So that's our trim thing moving up and down there. So that everything here pretty much moves. Don't know why the flaps. Oh, the flaps are all the way. And then we got like the free green on gear and everything. So pretty much all of it works. Now, if I just add a flight plan as well, we should very easily see our flight plan appear. There we go. And look, it shows up on our map. And we can obviously change our settings with our map distance, resolution, all of that, stuff, whatnot. So that's pretty cool. So look, we got a nice working cockpit and everything you want. Now also the exterior of the aircraft we'll just have a quick look at as well. The detail on this livery is phenomenal. Now I've actually chosen quite a tricky livery here by accident because of the tail fin. Now that is a hard thing to get in relatively decent detail. Now I just admire that. The detail gone onto that tail fin is crazy. I don't know if anyone's noticed it that much before, but look at that. It's a bit pixelated when you zoom in, but from a long way out, that's a good job. It's going to be hard for Boeing to beat this in infinite flight, to be fair, but even the livery itself is very, very good detail. So the next thing we're going to have a look at quickly is the Boeing one, so the 757. And we don't have the same livery, although I've never noticed this Air Astana version here. But let's go with the Air Astana. Where is it? I've never looked at this livery. Or we can try and see if there are any tricky liveries. This one's very basic. What I want is a similar tail to the one we've just seen, probably the Sunday Airlines one, because I can't think of many other aircraft liveries which work rather hard. They are in Mexico, quite straightforward. Yeah, so we're going to go with that Sunday Airlines livery if I can find it now. Sunday Airlines, there we go. So, Boeing. All I've ever known when playing infinite flight is Boeing have always been the preferred aircraft, especially when we look at the 737s. They've always been, more of a prioritized aircraft in infinite flight. Always been much more, well known. So, the cockpit itself, I love it how they've got, the brown textures, everything moves. You can see the rudder pedals, the flat thing moves, the trim thing won't show us yet, but the throttle works and the spoiler arm works. So we've got everything there. Now also, sorry I didn't look at the Airbus one, but I'm pretty sure they all work. The buttons, now the buttons in this cockpit work. There we go. So I know the landing lights work. I don't know where the seat belts and that are in here. I see them moving up there. There we go. So like I said, we've always known that they work. So while I beat up the aircraft again, if I can find the APU, electrical, there we go. We'll put it on and that. We'll just look at the interior cabin. Now, I can always notice on the livery out there, it looks a little bit more rusty than the A220, but we need to remember the A220 is much newer. So the first thing we've got here is blue seats. So your typical blue seats. We do have screens up here which have the little games on them. I don't know how to access the games now. I think we need the landing lights on, but I don't actually know if it's going to work for us. No, we need to plot a route for a start, shouldn't we? There we go. Let's go to this place. Lurf, the typical room. Okay, so that's not booted up yet. So we got the little seat section back here. Then move into the next bit of the plane where we've got even more seats. And is that the front, or is there another little cabin? There is a final cabin right at the front. Now, it's worth noting that in the A220s, they tend to only have one type of cabin class, typically economy. In the 757s, we generally have a business class thing at the front, which we don't actually have here. Now, I'm quite surprised these screens aren't working, but to be honest with you, I totally forgot how they work. Our main battery is on and our APU should be starting up, so I'm not too sure why our screens aren't waking up yet, but that's probably why the interior of the cabin isn't quite ready for us. So we'll just look at the exterior while we wake up the aircraft. The engines look good, not as good as the A220 unfortunately, but again, the detail on the Sunday here, it's good. It's not as good as the A220 though. That's something we can definitely say. It's not as good as the A220. Oh, look, perfect. Here we go. So, look, like I said, this is definitely better than the A220 on the interior side, though. Because, we've got the little destination sign, but that doesn't pop up on the screens. Put the landing lights on. Is our game going to come up? No. So, our game doesn't want to play. We do have to be at cruising altitude, I believe, for the games to work. But we don't also have screens on the inside of the 757. So, the 757, great aircraft, but I'm pretty sure the Airbus one is winning this so far. Now, if we just look at the worst aircraft, the 767, and we'll just look from the exterior point of view, and then we'll compare it to the A340 or maybe the A380 because most of you think it's worse. You can see a massive downgrade in the style of aircraft here. Like even the fan blades look all right, but like I said, you know, no interior, and the cockpit, yeah, that's not really a cockpit. To be fair, this cockpit is funny enough. It's got the magazine in that, which is cool in that. It's better than the A380 cockpit if you ask me, because we'll just have a quick look at the A380 one. If I can find it, there we go. We'll just go straight in Aerostraw. I'm surprised it's even loading us at a small gate like this. Delivery again, it's better, but look how much worse the engines are on this aircraft compared to the 767 we just looked at. And the thought of an interior in this would make my iPad like blow up. My iPad would become a heating system if there was an interior in this. And look, the cockpit again, I think it's worse than the 767, not even really an interior. So to be fair, you know, you can never tell which is better. I think personally, I am leaning towards Boeing because look, when we think about it, the 787s I've looked at before in one of the earlier videos this week, and it's quite a decent plane. And then you got the 777s all fully live, you know, 767 oof, 757 great live cockpit, interior, everything. 747s, I know oof. 737s got live cockpit, no interior. Yeah, let's not talk about that one. Then we got, you know, the start of the A220, A220 up to the A321. I think are all great aircraft and they're all really good. The A330 freight though, it's a bit of an oof. I'm surprised it wasn't like, you know, like re-wet slightly with the A330-300, but like the other two A330s are great, especially the A330-900. I love that aircraft. And then we've got the A340. Again, really needs a rework. It's a bit like the 767, like the A380 as well. And then with the A350, it's just a masterpiece. Like, where's the Cathay Pacific livery? One of my favourite liveries, Cathay Pacific. Just look at it. I think it looks really slick. And the Turkish Airlines one again, which I always mention, they both look really cool and slick. So all in all, I think I'm leaning towards Boeing. But let me know down below which one you think is better in infinite flight. But other than that, if you're new here, again, please remember, if you made it this far, please like and subscribe. All the help means everything. And other than that, I'll see you in my next YouTube video. Good night.